Good day everyone. I am General T. Bilorio, B.Ed 2. This video presentation will talk about the instructional design model. When we say instructional design model, provide a structured approach to creating effective learning experiences. They act as a blueprints guiding educators and trainers through a systematic process of analyzing a learning needs, defining objectives, selecting appropriate strategies, implementing instruction, and evaluating outcomes. One of the instructional design model is the Gagne's 9 Events of Instruction, a framework for effective learning. Robert Gagne, a proponent of educational psychologist, proposed a systematic approach to instruction called Gagne's 9 Events of Instruction. This model outlines a series of steps that educators can follow to ensure effective learning experience to their students. These are the Gagne's 9 events of instruction: gain attention, inform learners of the objectives, stimulate recall of prior learning, present the stimulus, provide learning guidance, elicit performance, provide feedback, assess performance, and enhance retention and transfer. Gain attention or reception. These initial steps aim to capture students' attention and pique their interest in the topic. Some strategies to gain learners' attention is start with a hook. Use interesting facts, quotes, or questions related to the topic. Use visual aids. Incorporate images, videos, or props to make the topic engaging. And make some real-life example and encourage participation. Ask open-ended questions or ask learners to share their thoughts. Number 2, inform learners of the objectives or the expectancy. This step clarifies the learning goals and expectation for the lesson. Students need to understand what they are expected to learn and be able to do by the end of the instruction. State the objective clearly and concisely. Use SMART. Objectives must be aligned with the learner's interests or goals. Number 3, stimulate recall or prior learning or retrieval. These steps help the students to connect the new information to their existing knowledge base. By activating prior learning, students can make sense of the new content and build upon their existing understanding. Techniques to stimulate recall. Ask learners to share prior knowledge or experiences. Number 4, present the content or selective perception. These steps involve delivering the new information in a clear, organized, and engaging manner. It's crucial to present the content in a way that facilitates understanding and retention. To present the content for optimal understanding and retention, we should have clear structure, the introduction, body, and conclusion. And logical sequencing builds from simple to complex. Number 5, provide learning guidance or semantic encoding. This step provides students with strategies and resources to help them learn the content effectively. It helps students develop metacognitive skills and learn how to learn. By using semantic encoding, you can create meaningful connections, making information more memorable and retrievable. Number 6, elicit performance or responding. This step encourages students to actively apply what they have learned through practice and application. It helps solidify understanding and develop skills. Number 7, provide feedback or reinforcement. These steps provide students with timely and constructive feedback on their performance. Feedback helps students identify areas for improvement and adjust their learning strategies. Number 8, assess performance or retrieval. These steps evaluate students' understanding and mastery of the learning objectives. Assessments should be aligned with the objectives and provide clear picture of the students' learning. Lastly is enhanced retention and transfer or generalization. This final step helps students to retain the information and apply it to the new situation. It focuses in making the learning meaningful and relevant to students' needs. These are the Gagne's 9 events of instruction. The next instructional design model is the Bloom's Revised Taxonomy, a framework for learning. Bloom's taxonomy, a hierarchical classification system for cognitive processes, has been a cornerstone in education for decades. In 2001, a revised version of the taxonomy was introduced addressing some limitation of the original while emphasizing the importance of higher-order thinking skills in today's complex world. The revised taxonomy levels and their application. First is remembering, recognizing and recalling facts, terms, basic concepts, and procedure. For example, recall the key events of the American Revolution. Example of assessment, multiple choice, question, fill in the blanks exercises. Number 2, understanding. Interpreting, translating information from one form to another, explaining concept in different way. Example, explain the concept of photosynthesis in your own words. Example of assessment, short answer questions, paraphrasing exercises. Summarizing, condensing information into a concise overview. Example, summarize the main points of the article about climate change. A sample of assessment, essay questions, and graphic organizers. Inferring, drawing conclusions based on evidence and reasoning. For example, infer the author's purpose in writing this essay. Assessment example, open-ended questions, and critical analysis tasks. Comparing and contrasting, identifying similarities and differences between concepts or ideas. For example, compare and contrast the two main theories of evolution. Example of assessment, Venn diagrams, and debate activities. Explaining, providing a detailed account of how something works or why it happened. Example, explain the process of mitosis. Assessment example, presentation, and research papers. Number 3, applying, executing, carrying out procedures or tasks according to instructions. Example, solve this math problem using the Pythagorean theorem. Example of assessment, practical demonstration, and simulation. Implementing, applying knowledge and skills in real-world context. Example, design and conduct an experiment to test a hypothesis. Example of assessment, project-based learning and case studies. Number 4, analyzing. Analyzing, breaking down information into its component parts and identifying relationships. Example, analyze the causes of the French Revolution. Example of assessment, critical essays and debate activities. Number 5, evaluating, making judgments about the quality, value, or effectiveness of information or products. For example, evaluate the effectiveness of particular marketing campaign. Example of assessment, fair reviews and portfolio assessments. Lastly is creating, producing something new or original, using knowledge and skills to solve problem or create solution. For example, create a presentation that explain the concept of sustainable development. Example of assessment, creative projects and design challenges. 1956 Bloom's Taxonomy and 2001 the Bloom's Revised Taxonomy. The next instructional design model is the ADE. The ADE model is a widely used framework in instructional design, serving as a systematic approach for creating effective training programs and learning materials. It stands for analysis, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. Analysis, identify learning needs, learning objectives, and the context of instruction. Analysis, identify also the target audience and performance gaps. Design, develop a learning strategy, select instructional methods and materials, and plan assessments. Development, create learning materials including text, visuals, activities, and assessments. Next is implementation. deliver instruction and provide support to learners. Evaluation, assess the effectiveness of the instruction and make revisions as needed. Another instructional design model is the Merrill's Principle of Instruction. Merrill's Principle of Instruction, developed by Dr. M. David Merrill, provide a set of guidelines for designing instruction that promotes meaningful learning and skills development. These principles are rooted in cognitive psychology and focus on how learners acquire and process information, emphasizing active engagement and real-world application. Merrill's 5 core principles. Number 1, problem-centered. Instruction should be organized around realistic problems or scenarios that learners need to solve. This approach encourages active engagement and helps learners see the relevance of the content. For example, instead of presenting a lecture on photosynthesis, learners might be tasked with designing a sustainable garden and applying their knowledge of photosynthesis to optimize plant growth. Number 2, active processing. Learners should be actively engaged in the learning process through activities, simulation, and real-world application. Example, learners might be asked to conduct a virtual experiment, participate in a role-playing scenario, or create a presentation to demonstrate their understanding of the concept. Number 3, demonstration. Learners should be shown how to perform skills or apply concepts through clear explanation and demonstration and clear example. For example, a teacher might demonstrate a specific lab technique, provide a step-by-step guide, or show a video of a successful application of a concept. Number 4, application. Learners should be given opportunities to apply what they have learned in a variety of contexts and situations. This reinforces learning and promotes transferability. For example, learners might be asked to solve a case study, create a project, or participate in simulation that require them to apply their knowledge and skills in real-world contexts. Lastly, number 5, integration. Learners should be helped to integrate new information with existing knowledge and experiences. This promotes deeper understanding and helps learners make connection between concepts. For example, learners might be asked to compare and contrast different concepts, create concept maps, or write reflective essays that connect new learning to prior knowledge. Applying Merrill's principles can be applied to a wide range of instructional settings, including traditional classrooms, online learning environments, and workplace training programs. That's all. Thank you for watching and listening.